How's it going, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. So have you ever wanted to watch a sports car movie and not have to turn off your brain just like Fast and the Furious? Well, you're in luck, because today we're talking about Ford versus Ferrari. Ford vs. Ferrari, directed by James Mangold, the same man who brought us Logan, stars Matt Damon and Christian Bale as Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles in this story where Henry Ford II and Lee Iacocca attached Shelby with creating a race car for the Ford Motor Company. It's all for the sole purpose of entering the car in the 24-hour race at Le Mans to beat out the dominant racing car company, Ferrari. So for me, I'm not much of a car junkie, so there wasn't very much appeal for me to see this film. However, someone like my dad is the car junkie in my family, and he was ecstatic to see that there was a film based on this story. Because of this, I figured that I would view this movie with him, and luckily, I was able to gain some more background knowledge on certain characters in this movie, certain events that took place, and even more on the cars that were being shown off. Because of the knowledge that was passed on to me on this film, as well as seeing the events take place before my very eyes, I enjoyed this film a lot more than I had anticipated. So thanks, Dad. I first want to start off by saying how much I love the chemistry between Matt Damon and Christian Bale. In early stages of production, it was said that another action duo that would be starring in this film was going to be Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, but they would later be replaced by Jason Bourne and Batman, and I can definitely say that either pair would have brought the same amount of excitement to the roles. In the beginning of the film, we get to see Matt Damon playing Carroll Shelby, who is a former race car driver, who later became an automotive designer, and we get to see him meet Christian Bale playing Ken Miles, a British World War II veteran now turned race car driver. And throughout the film, you get to see the duo work together and develop a strong bond with each other. And throughout the film, you get to see the duo work together on the GT40 for the Ford Motor Company, and you also get to see them build a very strong bond with one another, developing a very close friendship. Together, the pair share their knowledge and passion for what they do and support each other in the difficult choices they have to make, which makes for some extremely dramatic moments. But apart from having some of the tense moments between the two, you also got some very comedic moments, which I think Mangold did a great job in balancing out with the drama.
When this car ain't gonna build itself. Come here!
Come on, now you're gonna get it.
You! Right.
Yeah, now.
You!
Ow!
You're right!
Wally, darling,
Yes, love?
look at a fizzy pop, please.
And as much as I love Matt Damon in this film playing Carroll Shelby, I gotta give most of my credit to Christian Bale as Ken Miles. Being the dedicated actor he is, Christian Bale never ceases to amaze me in whatever movie he's in. To prepare for the role, he took race car driving lessons at the Bondurant High Performance Driving School, and conveniently enough, the founder of the school happened to be a friend of Ken Miles, and he went ahead to tell Bale stories of the racing scene back in the 60s. And with all this preparation, I think that really helped Bale escape into the character of Ken Miles and deliver such a charming and likable performance. Some of these moments including when he connects with his son, portraying how much excitement he had while he was racing, and even thanking Carroll Shelby for allowing him to participate in his dream race. And I think Bale performed so well that I felt a deeper connection with Ken Miles through the emotional and heartfelt moments. And if you happen to know the story of Ken Miles, then you know that he tragically died as he was testing out the new Ford J car after losing control on the road. Here's a minor spoiler, just FYI. There's a moment in the film where they're testing out the GT40 on the airport runway, and while testing it, it ends up exploding in this over-the-top way, and it really caught me off guard, and it ended up stressing me out. I'm not one to yell when something happens in a movie, but this is one of the few times that it managed to make me yell. So seeing the same thing happen near the end of the movie completely broke my heart, and it was nice to see Carroll Shelby finally call Miles one of his friends. I also can't talk about this movie without mentioning the racing sequences. Like I stated in the beginning of the video, you have most movies involving race cars such as Fast and the Furious, which are just over-the-top insanity, and all logic is just thrown out the window. But they still make for some engaging action sequences. In Ford vs. Ferrari, you don't have many of these over-the-top action sequences that throw all logic out the window. But at the same time, you still get an exciting and fun action sequence. Despite not being a fan of the race car scene, every single sequence that involved the characters driving around in a race car was nothing but exciting. I think James Mangold did a great job in shooting the scenes in these wide shots so that we could see everything that was happening on screen. As we follow the cars when they travel upwards of 220 miles an hour, it manages to keep you at the edge of your seat wondering what's going to happen. And along with all these wide shots, you also get the close-up shots of the racers in their cars, making you feel like you're right next to them speeding down the track. And for me, it just got my heart pumping with excitement every time. There's also the close-up shots of the speedometer and RPM meters, and I know it's a little thing to comment on, but for me, it really elevated the excitement of the film. You know, the day after I watched this movie, I happened to be driving on the freeway, and I was approaching a steep hill. So with that, I had to gain some speed, and as that happened, I heard my engine running, and as I was gaining speed, I felt the spirit of Ken Miles coming within me, and I just felt like a badass. Until I checked my speedometer rising in numbers too fast. As for something that I didn't enjoy about this film, it was the businessy aspects. And don't get me wrong, I know that for the sake of this movie, it's necessary since two companies are competing against each other, but I just wasn't a fan and felt that some of them may have dragged out a little bit longer than they needed to. The only scene that I did enjoy was Iacocca's business proposition to Henry Ford II and when he slams James Bond. And luckily for the film, it made the decision to put Ford in one of the race cars and actually have some fun for once in a while, instead of having him be stuck to just being the average, boring businessman. So overall, I gotta say that Ford vs. Ferrari is a very well done movie, and the fact that people have been hyping it up so much, it definitely lives up to it. The film does a pretty great job in balancing out all the dramatic, comedic, and action-filled sequences it has, giving all audiences something to enjoy from this film as a whole. Those sequences, along with showing the amazing chemistry between Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles, were some of the things that I can take away from this film. I think it's safe to say that this film is a huge crowd pleaser for car enthusiasts just like my dad, as well as for the people that enjoy race car movies. Even for those people out there like myself that aren't really much of a fan of cars, I think you'll be able to find something worthwhile in this film. Like I stated before, it has a good amount of drama and action to keep you excited. It also has a good amount of comedy to give you a good laugh once in a while. You get to see the heartfelt friendship of Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby unfold, and you get some amazing performances from the cast. So with all that, I'm gonna go ahead and give Ford vs. Ferrari 8 out of 10 GT40s.
Wally, darling.
Yes, love?
Look at a fizzy pop, please.
So I'd like to know, what do you guys think of Ford vs. Ferrari? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or do you not care to watch it? I'd love to know in the comments below. And also, if you happen to not be a car junkie and you still enjoyed it, I'd really love to know as well. If you liked the movie review you saw today, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for some more future movie content. Thank you guys for joining me in this review, and until the next one, I'll see you later.